when we talk about motivation and emotion, a lot of folks roll their eyes and say, oh, here we go again. Why? Because, again, psychology, we're plagued with the problem of how do we talk about something we can't define. I mean, I think you've heard motivation over and over. Is motivation a thing you have? Is motivation something, a verb someone's doing to you? We don't even know what this thing is. How many of y'all got a lecture from your parents recently about motivation? See, a lot of hands are like, I got that, okay. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to make you want something, trying to make you fear something, trying to make you think differently, feel differently? This is a messy thing. It's a messy thing, and one of the problems we have is how do we talk about this? Is it different for each person? Look, we all have a 4-chambered heart. We all have certain blood type. We all have all the same brain structures. So theoretically, do we all have the same motivations? I'm not sure. Some people drop out of college. Some people can't get enough college. Not only do they get a PhD, they get 2 PhDs. They spend their whole life in college. Some people can't even stand to read. Ugh, I hate reading. There are other people who bury themselves in a library and would love nothing better than to go into Barnes & Noble and sit there all day. So I know people are different, but does that mean we have 7 billion different types of motivational structures? I don't know. And you're going to be frustrated because as this class goes on, we're going to present theories. I'm going to give you rhetorical questions. And I think, yeah, we're going to write down vocabulary. Yeah, we're going to have to write down a couple psychologists' names and theories. But I'm not sure we're going to be able to nail down what motivates you, what motivates me, what motivates other people. This chapter is really about why. And when we look at why, this maybe more than any other is all about psychology. You ever look at yourself in the mirror? You ever look at your parents? Have you ever looked at a teacher who's talking blah, 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 like a little Charlie Brown teacher? You're looking like, why? Why do you even exist? You're looking at that poor creature who's barely making a salary, driving a dented minivan back to their semi-suburban home, 2.3 kids who probably don't love them, and you're like, why do you even come into school every day? You don't do that? Neither do I. All right, I don't do that at all. But my point is, if you were to look at someone who's acting stupid, acting in a way you don't like, why? Why is your boss such a jerk? Why does that hot kid not like you? Don't say you haven't thought that. This is about why. Was Freud right? Does it all come down to sex? We're all giggling. So my point is this. If we say why, some people say no, it's all about the Benjamins, all about money. Why do you work hard? About money. Okay, so you get money. Why do you want money? Buy things? You buy something, as soon as you leave the store, you're already bored of it. Why do you want new shoes, a new shirt? To look good? For whom? Ladies, have you ever got yourself a new outfit with the accessories, the earrings, everything all put together? And some lad came up to you, some boy you think's cute, and he's like, I love your stuff. I don't think so. I don't think there's ever been a guy who was attracted to a woman based on how she matched her shoes and earrings. Guys, all right, have you ever, hit the bench press hard? You did some physical male-like thing? You played your music extra loud out of your freaking Saturn sedan your parents let you drive? And some woman walked up to you and was like, yeah, I like how you turn that volume up. Mm-hmm. No. So why do we do things? I don't think we know. Why are you in this class? Because you like this class. Why? See, it's interesting. Why? Yeah, because I find it's interesting. Why? Because I find it really interesting. I can't necessarily bust on him too much. All right, you're smiling. Why do you come to this class?
I literally close my eyes and think that we're in the class.
You literally close your eyes. So why did you come today?
I don't know. Do we have to?
I think that's important. She's honest. I don't know. Most of us don't know why we do stuff. Why do you do anything? Most of us don't. Ask your mom. Mom, why'd you cook this dinner? Oh, I don't know, honey. The family know. Why this dinner, Mom? Mm-hmm. Most of us don't. And maybe we don't want to know. If we do why, all right, because we say money. Why? Why? Everything has a why to it, and I don't know what the bottom is. Are you in this class to get a good grade? Okay, sure. That's one, it's like a surface level. Why? So I can go to college. Why? So I can get a good job. Why do you want a good job? So I can have money. Why? What's at the bottom of it? If you can answer this, you're going to have yourself one heck of a career in psychology. There's a lot of theories. Is it all unconscious? Do we not know why we do stuff? Was Skinner right to seek a reward and avoid a punishment? So I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what the answer is. If you ask me, why do we do stuff? Why do we take notes off the Promethean screen? Why do we sit there in class? I don't know. So if I don't know, what's the next best thing? Why don't I not answer the real questions, but what am I going to do? Bore you all with vocabulary note-taking. And I think really that's the best thing a teacher can do. Like I said before, when we're talking about motivation, we don't have a lot of hard facts. If we're going to dip into the neurological, physiological paradigm, we have to remember the hypothalamus. Your hypothalamus is your 4 F's. Why do we do stuff? Well, feeding, fear, fighting, and the other F1. All right, so forgetting. All right, so that's what that is. So why do we do stuff? Is it all hypothalamus? Try this next time you compare yourself to someone else. And God, why is that person such a go-getter? They got all the good grades. They got a part-time job. They're a great athlete. They volunteer. They save homeless nuns from burning buildings. You know, they're like, I don't know. Some people are like really driven to take over the world. And then the rest of us are sitting on the couch and we realize, oh, the remote's out of reach. That's the worst. You sit down and you're like, oh, which is why I always keep a string on my remote. So when I sit down and I realize it's over there, I just pull it to me. I just pull it to me. How many of y'all think that's a good idea? I know it's a good idea, but here's the problem. Where do you put the string? Tie it to your wrist? All right, I do. I just drag the remote with me all around the house just so I'm never, ever away from it. So the short answer is your hypothalamus is your 4 F's. That's nice to write down, but that's not enough. If you eat, does your hypothalamus tell you you're hungry? Or does your empty stomach tell you you're hungry? Does your low blood sugar level tell you you're hungry? What we got to realize is these things, there's not one answer, there's multiple answers. And if there's multiple answers, you know there's multiple theories. If we're going to look at these theories, notice they correspond very nicely, very tightly with our 7 paradigms. Back in the day, months ago, we introduced introductory psychology in the first unit, and we had 7 paradigms. We had the evolutionary paradigm, psychodynamic, behavioral, social. We had all of the paradigms, and all of them offered an answer of why. Why do we do stuff? I think the first one is going to be the evolutionary paradigm, which kind of spawns or spins off the instinct theory. Fancy name for instinct is now called a fixed action pattern. It's kind of insulting for us noble, smart humans to have instincts. Anyone know why a dog sniffs another dog's butt? Because it has to. It can't. It's a slave to its instinct. Birds got to fly south. If you're a goose, are you really looking forward to like a 6,000-mile flight? So what do human beings have to do? What are we a puppet to? I'd say, are there? What about this? Are you a slave to your cell phone? Must you do this? I suggest yes. I suggest we have an instinct to socially care about what other people think of us all the time. Find me a cave person, generations ago, our common ancestors, who didn't care what the clan, the family, the tribe thought of them. Find me someone who didn't care and walked off on their own. They're a noble individual, and I'll show you someone's going to die real quick. I think we have an instinct to constantly worry what other people think of us. Do you believe that? So next time your friend's like, God, you're always on your phone. I can't not be. I have to. It's an instinct. I kind of think that's, do you like it? I think it's true. You could write all of this down, but I think we know what instincts are, genetic programming. The flaw is we can never observe an instinct. You can't see an instinct in a lab unless you have a time machine and you can watch generation after generation after generation of evolution of our ancestors. This is all a theory. This is pseudoscience. This is not empirical. The main man, of course, is going to be William James, but other theorists have added on in the last 120 or so years since James wrote his books. As I mentioned before, the problem with this is the instinct is not observable. You cannot observe a dog's instinct to sniff a dog's butt. And I would hope they have different senses of smells than we do, because I can't imagine that would be really pleasant. Imagine a dog hates the smell of dog poop as much as we hate the smell of dog poop. Like, oh, I got to go smell it up close again. That would be like the worst torture ever. But the difference is the behavior is, I can observe a bird flying south, I can't observe a bird why it's flying south. So next time you see an idiot, you see someone who's behaving in a way you think stupid or annoying, and like, why? Oh, it's because they're young, because they're white, because they're male, because they're female. That's the fundamental attribution error. That's non-logical. All right. Be careful when you say, oh, the reason, it's too easy to say this. Why do some kids pay attention in school? They have an instinct. Why do some kids drop out of school? They have an instinct. That's pseudoscience. It's kind of, it's BS, for lack of a better word. Can I move on with this? You with me? Let's do another theory. The hedonic theory is all about pleasure. All about pleasure. There was a Greek sect in the heyday of the Grecian Empire, you know, with all the columns and the togas and the little leaves around their head, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. In that empire, there was a sect of people who thought the highest good was physical pleasure. And that's actually Socrates' biggest question. What's the highest good? Socrates said wisdom, or the pursuit of wisdom. But the hedonists said no way. Socrates belonged to a sect called the Stoics. He said the most important thing is to learn wisdom. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. He was a pretty smart guy, but he did end up dying. You know, anyone know how Socrates died? No one? He was condemned to death. He was considered an enemy of the state because he taught children to think. He was criticized and condemned for corrupting the youth, and he had a choice. He could run away, but he decided, nope, we all got to die sometime. I'm going to die a noble death, and he had to drink poison. No one ever heard about Socrates?
I knew he was poisoned.
He was poisoned. He drank hemlock by himself, and all his followers were like, dude, we can sneak you out. You're the man. And he's like, nope, we all got to die. I'm going to die like, die like a boss. All right, moving on. So the hedonists were a Greek sect, and they said physical pleasure. You don't understand what I'm talking about. These are the people that worshipped Dionysus. They had a god of wine. These people invented the orgy. They took their pleasure pretty seriously. They said, look, we're going to die anyway. We might as well enjoy it. So what does this mean for modern psychology? Well, the theory is we're seeking rewards. We're avoiding pain. So now if I ask you, why are you in this class? Why do you do homework? To get an A. I don't think if I were to ask you honestly, maybe I will, maybe I've already polluted the question, but when you're done writing this down, slam your pens down in teenage frustration, and I'm going to ask you a question I want you to answer honestly, which is really tough to do. In fact, I challenge you, pick a day and just let people know what you really think. Just be honest all the time. You already do that? Next time your friend's like, how do you like my outfit? Like, what, you shoot the couch and wear it? All right, that's not right. If you're in this class, you're in any other class, and you do your homework, you study, why? Does anyone here learn, study and learn because they like to learn? What's that? I can't do anything for too long and hate. Okay. So are you telling me you like to read or read this book or study or do your outlines because you want to just learn? You have no choice. You have a reward. That's extrinsic. Go ahead.
Aren't people supposed to like to learn? Like they have like schools for like kids. Some places that are like they can choose whether or not to learn, but eventually everyone goes to learn.
That is an educational theory, usually shown in preschool, called the Montessori method. They say the worst thing you can do is tell a kid what and how to learn. People are naturally creative, like you just kind of intimated. Naturally creative, they'll figure out a way. I think one of the worst things that's ever been done to learning is called schools. And some people say one of the worst things that's ever been done to God is religion. Once you start putting rules and tell people how to do stuff, it messes people up. Well, do you think we could learn more if you weren't worried about grades? Let's talk about the hedonist. All right. Extrinsic motivation is just, if you ask your parents, why do they go to work? For a paycheck. Do any of your parents wake up like, man, today I'm going to make a difference? All right, I do. That's why I come in, because I just want to teach. All right, the reality is most people work for this. So I think we do have an instinct, but we also work for what's called a reward, an extrinsic reward. You can see that Skinner's behavior, Skinner's stuff is all over this. His fingerprints are why do we do stuff? We press a button for a reward. We avoid this because we don't want a punishment. This is also called the pull motivation. Something outside of us is pulling us in a direction. Something in our environment. But I think there's a limit. I think that most of you all are very good students. I don't think there's someone in this class whose parents check their homework every night. And if so, grow up. All right, so if your parents are like, all right, well, let me double check your stuff. I think you have earned a fair amount of trust on your parents. They'll check over your report card. They'll check kind of the grade headline every now and then and see what's going on. But for the most part, you do your thing. I bet you could do a lot less homework and still keep your grades. But most of you do most of your homework. Is it to get the free coupon for Chick-fil-A? To get the nuggets? Is that why, like, oh, I'm tired. But you're like, oh, at the end, those nuggets are going to be so worth it. I don't think that's why you work. I don't think that, is it because of something intrinsic called pride? Maybe guilt, maybe shame you want to avoid. Maybe an anxious feeling of, how many of you all have ever forgotten your homework or didn't do your homework and you realize, and you're nervous all day? You're just giggling. All right. So maybe it's not purely extrinsic. If it was purely extrinsic, you would look at your teachers and they'd say, come on, here's your homework. Teacher, I already have an A. I'm not going to do any more work. I did have a student once who calculated the smartest kid ever to walk through high school. This is years and years and years ago. His goal, and he could easily do it, was to get a 90 or 91. As soon as he got a 91, he'd stop working. When he could know, he was smart enough that when he took, this is before Homer Psych, he had a Scantron, and out of 50 questions, he would only do 45 of them. He knew he got them all right, and he just stopped. And like, dude, you didn't finish. I know, but I figure if I do number 46, it's a waste of my energy. Dude was brilliant, and he thought he got mad at himself when he got above a 92. He wasn't a jerk. He's just like, I don't know, just seeing if he could. He got straight A's, but never won an A+. Anyway, so was he really working for extrinsic? No, he was working for intrinsic. He just wanted to see if he could do it. All right, I think he's so smart, like the government absorbed him. All right, so moving on with that. Let's talk about the arousal theory. How many of y'all are really, really bored right now? Well, not right now because you're writing something down, and that is itself vaguely interesting. The worst thing in the world would be if I would not let you copy any stuff down. You just had to sit and listen. You get even more bored than if you were writing down little sentences periodically. So when you're really bored, I want you to do not slam your pens down with teenage frustration. In fact, as soon as you finish writing, I want you to lift your pen up as fast as you can. Now that wasn't fast. All right, as soon as you finish writing, go ahead real fast. I want you to make a game out of your pen. You got 20 seconds. I can see you're all really bored. Extra credit for anyone who can make their pen or pencil stand on its end on this desk. I will give you a sticker if you can put your pen right here on your upper lip, look up, let it roll down, and catch it with your tongue. My man. You make like a boss. You know, I like the effort. Do it. Go hard. Go hard. Oh.
Close enough.
How many of y'all like to spin your pens around?
Yeah, I can't.
How many of you all have ever gotten in like a seriously weird game of like looking at your letters and having the... You're like... My point is this. We need a certain amount of stimulation. We were talking to the sensation unit way back, talking about eyes and ears and perception. I said the worst thing in the world is sensory deprivation. Our brain needs incoming stimuli. Our brain needs incoming stimuli. So the worst thing in the world is to be bored. So how many of you all will look at your phone? Sneak your phone. Why? Because class is so boring. You need something. And my class is the worst. Look, I guarantee you if we didn't have grades, we could do it a little bit differently. I'm suggesting if we could use psychological knowledge and overlay that with education, schools would look a lot different. As soon as a child is bored, they're not learning. Now, to some extent, a kid needs to kind of focus and learn to have attention. But for, hello, there you go. What were you doing back then? Yeah. Why were you doing nothing? Can you control it? That's wild. I dare you next time a teacher's like, pay attention. I can't. Do you believe that? See, what motivates us, I think, is out of our control. I dare you to like someone who you don't have a crush on. Find a good student who's a sturdy citizen, reliable. I don't think you can. So going back to the word sturdy is never complimentary. All right, so check it out. If you have too little, well, duh, you have boredom. But look what I wrote next to boredom, negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement propels us. Remember, it's not punishment. It comes before. It's a stressor. It's something that stresses you. You won't do this because I don't think you're motivated enough. So here's what I want you to do. Go home today. Sit on the couch. No remote, no phone, no computer, no laptop.
I'll just fall asleep.
Don't sleep.
Just sit there?
Sit on the couch. You cry?
I would go insane.
How long would it take?
Like 2 seconds.
Wow.
I
All
wanna
right,
sleep.
I don't think any of you all should ever join the special forces because I don't think that would work. I think you should also avoid prison. All right, so that's kind of my goal for you. If you think that's hard, after you're really bored and you go sleepy tonight, whatever time bedtime is, you get in your bed, you crawl in the sheets, you get your head on a pillow, you're there, don't shift. Whatever position you get in the bed, don't move. How long could you last?
2 seconds. I would get so sad.
I think this is interesting. We are driven, I got to be careful using the word drive because that's a whole vocabulary word here. We're propelled. I can't even use the word pushed. All these vocabulary words are claimed. I can't even speak right. We are made to do certain things. Boredom's bad. Boredom's bad. On the other hand, there is another side to it. Who was that one? That was like an emphasis. Like, I agree. I'm going to yawn real hard. Okay, there are sensation seekers. Next to that, you could put like adrenaline junkies. People who need more than a little bit of sensation. Extreme skiers. I don't know, people who do full contact fights, people who, I don't know, skateboard with one wheel. I don't even know if that's possible. There's good side to this. You can see that the evolutionary paradigm has their fingerprints on this. Because if all human beings are always scared, no one would discover, no one would make an adventure, no one would explore. But there's a bad side to this. Sensation seekers die earlier. There's a dopamine problem. It's not that there's too little dopamine. And remember, dopamine's the neurotransmitter that we call the go neurotransmitter. It makes us do things. It makes us seek pleasure. When I say dopamine problems, I want you to write down lack of receptors in the midbrain. Lack of receptors in the midbrain. Now, this is seen in addicts. The reason people are oftentimes addicts, whether it's shopping, whether or not it's, I don't know, internet addiction, whether or not it's gambling, whether or not it's sneaking your phone when the teacher's not looking. Are you addicted to your phone?
Yes.
Could be. I think that possibly could be. Because if we believe in plasticity and reward, it's because of this. Now, lack of dopamine in sensation seekers and addicts, the reality is they're bored all the time. Normal pleasure that most of us would get, they don't feel it. They just want more. They want more. They want more. So maybe it's not their fault they become addicts. I'm not going to say zoo animals, prisoners, high school students. In my other class, I swear to you, I'm not making this up. There's a kid who sits at that seat in the window. Right as I was saying, the kid must have been so bored. Without even thinking, she like opens up the blind and she looks out. And I said, why? And she said, I don't know, because she didn't know. And it was a perfect metaphor for how boring this class is. She's like in jail looking through the bars, help me. She's looking for something that's not boring. And I think we all are. Is that why you're looking at your phone? Pretty much. You're looking at your phone as a window into something that's not interesting. What's wrong with you?
He has problems.
Well, we know that. All right, here's what I want you to do.
I just have a lot of energy.
All right, here's what I want you to do. Ready? Put your pen on your desk and put your chin on your pen. So when you fall asleep, it hurts.
I wasn't falling asleep, I was just fidgeting.
All right, here we go. Count your fingers. Is that fun for you?
Only up 10?
I disagree. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 plus 5 is 11.
What? Wait, what? 10, 9, 8.
So if I'm counting my fingers backwards, you say I should start at 9.
No. No, so it's 10, 9, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's that? I think you guys got to go back to math. All right, a little scary. All right, second to last thing we got to write down, amygdalic response. It basically means you're afraid. There are a lot of people in this world who, and maybe we have some people in this class, I'm sure we have some people, usually teenage males, who are sensation seekers. What did the teenage boys say before when you went in the emergency room? Hey, think I can jump that? All right. Teenage boys are not known for their wisdom. Have you done anything dumb recently? All right. Generally, as people get older, their desire for sensation, their arousal, their threshold gets lower and lower, such that maybe ask your mom, when's the last time your mom said, man, let's go on a roller coaster? No.
My mom
No.
refuses to ride roller coasters.
Because they're moms. There are some people, and you don't have, if you want to, what's called self-disclose. Is there anyone here who, for lack of better words, kind of a scaredy cat, doesn't like roller coasters, just wants to kind of just chill and not? Is everyone here? Maybe it's because you're young. All right, I'm still young, 23. All right. So when I ride roller coasters, seriously, try this. You won't. Don't put the bar down. Don't put the bar down. No, you got to hold on. Make it real. Go hard. Go ahead.
So when I was a bunch kid, I went snowboarding, and some of the lifts have bars and some don't. And so we went on one with a bar because we were on the very top of the mountain. And these boys ahead of me thought it'd be funny that they didn't have the bar on; they would just like lay out on the lift. And there's this part where you're kind of close to the bottom of the mountain, and they jumped off and decided to snowboard down there. And the guy like totally ate it.
Got to be teenage boys. Got to be teenage.
Then they got
Sorry,
kicked
you
out.
guys are dumb. All right. We've talked about rock fights and beehives. All right, so here's the deal. Just know this word, amygdalic response. It just means you're a little bit nervous. And I think that people who are nervous and afraid more often, a little bit anxious all the time, you live longer. All right. Now, maybe your life, you're destined to sit in a rocking chair with an Afghan surrounded by cats reading poetry, or as we call English teachers. All right, but tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. All right, so I think that we all have these kind of extremes in us, and the human species needs both. For every person that says, you know what, the best thing to do is get a good, secure, well-paying job with the government, there's also someone that says, no way, I'm going to walk away from that. Let's start a business and let's go hard. We need both in our society. The human species needs both kinds. All right, moving on. Not last thing. We got things to do. Well, quit. Look, I had to type all these things. What's that? You think I use my same? Why don't we do humanistic theory? Really quickly, humanistic theory. We've been introduced to that months ago in the first unit. Remember we did our paradigm, psychodynamic, evolutionary, humanistic, behavioral. Humanistic theory. All of those paradigms offer a why. They suggest why we do this. Humanistic theory is very positive. It says, why do people do stuff? Because they are seeking to be the best they can be. They might not be doing it in the best way, but the why is the same. All people are good. All people want to get better. There's not a kid in this school that doesn't want straight A's. And believe it or not, as hard as you imagine, there's not a teacher in this school that doesn't want to be a better teacher. There's just things in their way. Maybe they don't have time. Maybe they're worried about their family. Maybe they don't know how to use a computer, for crying out loud. Drive theory is simply this. It's an impulse to get rid of a need. Needs are bad. We don't want needs. A need for calories, that's bad. Need for hydration, that's bad. Need for sleep, that's bad. If we can get rid of our needs, then we can find where we need to be. The problem is our needs are always fluctuating. So we have these things called drives, and they're propelling us. They are, you know how we did a pull earlier? Drives are pushing us to maintain homeostasis. What's worse, being really hungry or being so full you're about to throw up?
Definitely really hungry.
We should do an experiment.
Okay, I'll do the really simple.
You'll do the really full person? All right, how much can you eat?
Too much. I eat too much every day. I
You
get
think,
full and I keep eating.
well, because you're an American. And that really is our job. I mean, we got Costco. I like how cars are sold with oversized cup holders. All right, does anyone here know, we know what a big gulp is, but you don't know when summertime comes around, they sell what's called a double gulp. 64 ounces. And people drink them. God bless America. We should say the Pledge of Allegiance right now. That's what we should do. Because only in America do we put the word extreme next to food. Drive theory is we are pushed by the desire to, you just shifted and looked at the clock. What was your need? Well, you looked over there, but you clearly shifted. Now you just shifted. What was your need? Butt cheek uncomfortability. That's what we're all basically, so that's why you move around. That's why we got to be careful not to reduce ourselves down to unthinking animals. But a lot of neuroscientists say, yeah, that's all we are. That's all we are. You can basically predict what someone's going to do if you look at your... Are you still laughing at butt cheek uncomfortability? Let's see where we ended up. Homeostasis. Everyone knows what homeostasis is, yes?
Yes.
All right, you took biology. All right, we're going to hit this tomorrow. All right. I know. I say that to some dumb kids. I'm like, well, your punishment is your own existence. They're like, yeah. All right. All right, so we got that. Let's do ourselves a little bit of learning. Someone's like, no, I don't want to. I want to hold on to my ignorance a little bit longer. As far as a review worksheet, those are called your outlines. If you did your outlines well, you're in good shape. All right, why would I print out a whole bunch of vocabulary of definitions you've never seen when you could use your stuff that theoretically you created in the way you like? That was the whole point of the outlines. All right, I think we're ready to start teaching. I got a Promethean pen. I got this. I feel like I'm a freaking gladiator. All right, that's how I'm a gladiator against ignorance, and you are all my enemies. All right, so here we go.